Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am Trisha. I am a Corian Design A&D representative in Chicago, and I'm joined here with Nicole from Corian Design Marketing. And we are so excited to be in the studio today to present to you the 2026 collection, Nature in Motion. Before we get started, I want to encourage you to submit any questions throughout the presentation. We'll be concluding with a Q&A, and we have Jesse on standby to collect your questions, and we have product, design, and technical experts available to address them. And as you'll see, many of these aesthetics are best appreciated at a full scale, so we'll be providing a QR code near the end of the presentation for you to access. And with that, let's get started. Before we get into the individual colors, we want to take a step back and talk about what is shaping design right now. This collection is directly informed by what we're seeing across projects, segments, and in conversations with architects and designers like all of you.
And what we're seeing is not just a shift in aesthetics, but a shift in expectations. Materials are no longer expected to just perform. They're expected to contribute to the architecture of a space, influence how it feels, support how it functions over time.
One of the most consistent trends we continue to see is the influence of biophilic design. Spaces are being designed to feel more connected to nature, and there's a shared focus on enhancing well-being through aesthetics.
And what's changed is how that shows up. It's no longer just about the natural materials. It's about how those materials behave in the space, how they carry light, how they create a sense of calm or movement, depending on the environment.
We are also continuing to see a clear move toward warmer, more grounded palettes, but in an even more organic way that is just extending beyond color. Design is shifting even further towards spaces that feel more inviting and more human.
Designers are looking for materials that can introduce warmth while still maintaining consistency across large applications, vertical and horizontal surfaces, and different lighting conditions. That balance hasn't always been easy to achieve.
And in an effort to strike some balance and create some harmony inspired by nature, we are returning to richer tones, especially browns and deeper neutrals.
And these tones are no longer accents. They're becoming foundational elements that help define zones, create contrast, and add depth in a way that feels intentional.
And of course, sustainability continues to be a major driver in material selection. But the conversation has evolved. It's about transparency, longevity, and making material choices that support both performance and environmental impact over the full life cycle of a project.
What really ties all of this together is intent. Designers aren't just selecting materials, they're selecting them for what they enable and how they shape the experience of a space. So we're aligning our new introductions with the macro trends that exist in design. Travertines, directional veined marbles, limestones, and particulate aesthetics are all gaining attention and demand.
And as we walk through each of these colors with you, we will talk about where we can see them being applied in different sectors like healthcare, education, food service, and retail, to name a few. Every color was carefully created with a specific purpose, not just to follow trends. We want to respond to the ever-evolving industry in a way that is applicable and relevant to your projects. So let's get started with one of the most influential aesthetics we're seeing right now, and that is Travertine. Design is moving back towards Travertine as a more balanced alternative to highly expressive veining. It brings structure and warmth without overwhelming a space.
But as much as designers are drawn to Travertine, it comes with constraints. It's difficult to carry across vertical surfaces, it's challenging to use in curved applications, and often inconsistent at scale. So with Travertine Roma, we set out to capture that architectural language while removing those limitations for you.
Travertine Roma brings a structured, linear rhythm that mirrors Travertine found in nature. And it is easier to apply on a large scale since it's solid surface. You get the seamless benefits while incorporating the features that make Travertine so appealing.
You can design with it across vertical planes, wrap it around forms, and integrate it into key touch points like reception desks or nurses' stations, especially where you need seamless transitions between a horizontal or a vertical surface without visual interruption.
It is a design that will bring structure and warmth into any shared space, and it is an excellent choice for cladding to the front of a substructure, but even makes for a striking feature wall. The linear movement feels so genuine and not overpowering, so it is perfect for a large-scale application. And think of restaurants or a convenience store. This would be a great countertop or transaction station. Travertine Roma is a versatile choice because it is bold yet natural, and it has the durability and sustainability and cleanability factor that actual travertine could never provide.
So instead of working around those limitations, you're able to use Travertine Roma as a defining architectural element within the space.
And while Travertine Roma brings a more structured expression, Travertine Firenze takes a softer and more organic approach.
Travertine Firenze was designed to feel more relaxed and natural. The movement is less rigid, it has subtle variation that creates a more weathered and evolving quality.
But you can really see the attention to details on this sheet. With the subtle aggregates incorporated throughout the design, there is such a lovely blend of textures happening, and you still have the subtle contrast of the travertine colors.
It really gives you a way to achieve a natural aesthetic without the visual intensity of stronger linear patterns, which makes it easier to apply across a wider range of environments.
Travertine Firenze creates a more supportive backdrop that allows the overall design to really come forward. It elevates any space all on its own, but it has the warm and cool tones to complement the other materials and backdrop without competing with them. I think it's a perfect color for both collaborative and high traffic environments that still seek to feel approachable and connected to nature. Let's think about other applications found in education or healthcare, where the main focus is to create a comfortable experience while reducing visual stress. It has just enough warmth where it can really be a beautiful but an impactful choice for a space like that.
And unlike natural stone, you're able to scale that softer, organic expression across an entire space without the inconsistencies or installation constraints that typically come from a natural stone.
So where Travertine Roma is more of a bold natural that can define a space, Travertine Firenze supports it subtly while still bringing some warmth and material authenticity into the design. Next, we move into a different type of expression with Vasto Greige. This design introduces a large-scale movement that brings more presence than a traditional neutral, while still maintaining some restraint. Inspired by the fluid movement found in nature and stones like marble, Vastos brings that sense of motion into commercial applications, while delivering the performance required for real-world use. It's hygienic, seamless, reparable, and capable of bending, twisting, and shaping in ways natural stone cannot.
It sits in somewhat of a middle ground, more movement and depth than a classic neutral, but more controlled than heavily veined materials. And that becomes especially important when you're working across those large-scale applications because the movement is broad and uninterrupted. This allows it to carry consistently across long runs, large panels, and connected surfaces without creating those visual breaks. And it won't overwhelm the space and compete with other design elements.
When you need the surface to be hygienic and durable, but want to add some dimension across a long countertop or transaction station, Vasto Greige is a great selection. There's perfect harmony in the tones and movement that make this a flexible choice to pair with other designs, as seen pictured here with Travertine Firenze and the restroom application. Think of areas that require continuity and repetitive specification, like a long run of patient rooms, where you need consistency but don't want to sacrifice having some movement integrated in the design. It is just natural enough, but it could also act as that bold accent in your space.
This is another example where the performance of Corian Design stands out. You're able to maintain control across that entire installation without the unpredictability that often comes with large-scale veining in natural materials.
So it gives you a way to introduce some movement and depth into the space while still maintaining some control and consistency. So while Vasto Grayish gives you a more grounded and neutral expression of movement, Vasto Laguna builds on these elements by adding in some color.
We created Vasto Laguna to be its own expressive design, but that's what makes it another versatile choice. It's the same Laguna blue from our current collection, so it pairs well with solid Laguna and Laguna Terrazzo. Vasto Laguna was designed to feel more open and atmospheric.
In places where using natural stones wouldn't be as practical or deliver the material properties that you would need, Vasto Laguna unlocks so many design possibilities. Here you can see it cladded in a seamless geometric desk design and applied to a large-scale wall behind the desk paired with Vasto Grayish. The two selections can work in tandem, and Vasto Laguna could anchor any space that is in need of some movement inspired by stone, but needs to maintain durability and performance demands. It is shown here vertically in restroom stalls, but this could be a dynamic choice for a horizontal application as well, like a bathroom countertop. And like you said, Nicole, there's so much potential to experiment pairing Vasto Laguna and Vasto Grayish together, and also Vasto Laguna with the other Laguna aesthetics in our current solid surface collection.
And because that movement can be carried consistently across the surfaces and forms, it becomes much easier to create continuity throughout the space without losing that sense of lightness.
Let's venture into the newest additions to our Artista family, and first is Artista Mocha. This is where the palette starts to introduce more richness and texture, shifting away from directional movement into something that feels a little softer.
Artista Mocha is built around an earthy limestone aesthetic. Similar to our existing Artista designs that allow for some subtle movement, Artista Mocha has cooler particulates softly coating the sheet that slightly contrast its brown base. Instead of large-scale movement, you see a more distributed pattern that creates depth through variation and layering, giving it a more tactile and crafted quality.
The Artista pattern really energizes a space without dictating direction, and I'm excited that we are introducing a dark brown.
We're seeing more projects incorporate richer tones, but designers still need those materials to feel refined and usable, not heavy or overpowering. So Artista Mocha really gives you that depth and richness while still maintaining that balance.
Artista Mocha will translate into a variety of different designs, providing a luxurious warmth. You could see it applied here in a food service setting and also in a hospitality restroom. There's an elegance to Artista Mocha, and incorporating it into any application is going to really elevate a space. In the education setting, for example, the rich brown of Artista Mocha helps to create a space that promotes learning. Paired with Artista's soft visuals, it creates such a calming balance. And building on that family of aesthetics, Artista Drift moves into a lighter and more subtle direction.
While Artista Mocha introduces more depth and richness, Artista Drift is designed to feel more open and refined. Here you see a softer, more diffused movement that creates a lighter, more versatile surface.
It is a very subtle warmth. It's kind of like a color where you can look at an image and not fully appreciate how much movement is really there.
It really only becomes visible in its full aesthetic and to scale. That's where you really begin to see that depth, that variation, and how it creates a more dynamic surface without ever feeling busy, especially in environments where overly uniform surfaces can start to feel a bit sterile or visually flat over time.
That gives you a lot more control as a designer. You can use Artista Drift across large surfaces where you want consistency and calm, but still need some movement to keep the space from feeling flat or overly clinical.
It also works really well when you're layering materials. Because it stays visually quiet, it allows you to pair it with wood, metals, or more expressive materials without creating any competition.
This will work really well in environments where versatility is key. In an application like a nurse's station where you need something that feels clean and consistent, but still has enough variation to soften the space, we are giving designers such a great alternative to using a solid color with Artista Drift. There's just enough movement and interest to create a more dynamic environment, like on this feature wall. And in a food service or convenience store environment, it performs well across counters and food service areas, where you want a lighter, more refined look that still feels elevated. And in our last solid surface introduction, we move into City Roast, where brown is the new black. This is an exciting addition to our terrain collection, and it also contains recycled content.
City Roast is built on a particulate aesthetic, but in a much richer, more contemporary direction. What that gives you is a surface that has depth and variation without relying on directional movement or bold veining.
Which is so important because this is a type of material designers rely on when really performance matters. These particulates are still concentrated but a little larger on City Roast, so they can help to do the heavy lifting in areas that need to mask wear, reduce visual fatigue, but still hold up in a high traffic environment.
We saw an opportunity to evolve the particulate category, so instead of treating it as purely functional, City Roast really brings warmth and character into the same level of performance.
It has a richness that feels very familiar. I can imagine it in places like a warm European coffee house or in commercial environments where you want to create a sense of comfort. It's a perfect fit for a retail or food service setting where you want to elevate the experience but still need a material that can assist in hiding that wear. Since it's non-directional, it scales easily into a design. You don't have to manage pattern alignment or worry about its transitions across seams for larger installations.
And with the performance of Corian Design, you're able to bring that durability, consistency, and formability into those environments without compromising on aesthetics.
City Roast takes something designers rely on and already use every day, and it elevates it into something that feels warmer and more aligned with where design is heading. In addition to our solid surface introductions, we're also expanding the Corian Quartz portfolio with Harbor Vale and Coastal Haze. We really wanted to challenge ourselves to create a high-end looking quartz that is elevated and elegant, but stands at a competitive price point.
And this is really about giving you more freedom in how you design a space, not having to choose one material over another, but being able to carry a consistent vision across every surface, even when the application changes.
Quartz is a material that is the touch point and cornerstone of so many spaces now. Think about a hotel check-in desk, a bar top, or a reception counter. It is such a widely used surface that really sets the tone for an entire space. So Harbor Vale is designed for that kind of impact, a quieter impact. It contains a very soft warmth and subtle movement that almost recedes into the space.
It's the kind of surface that feels at home in a boutique hotel lobby or a high-end healthcare reception, or really any space where you need the space to feel calm or elevated and resolved without drawing attention to the material itself.
And our second quartz edition, Coastal Haze, has a slightly more grayish affect, but also still contains some warmth. It brings in a bit more movement, but still manages that elegance, and I can see it elevating any environment, really.
They really are both such elegant choices, and at such a great price point to begin warmth into the space. You can imagine it in hospitality, a lounge, or front of the house environment where the goal is really to feel welcomed and bright and connected.
And when you start to think about the project as a whole, this is where it becomes really powerful. As shown in these residential applications, you can use solid surface where you want to shape form, and then bring quartz into the high touch and high visibility moments without breaking overall design language. And our entire collection provides a really flexible palette that allows designers to integrate both materials into their designs. All right, well, everyone, thank you so much for spending time with us today. Thank you for tuning in. It has been our pleasure to share nature in motion with you all. What we've shared is more than just a collection of new colors. It's a set of tools designed to help you shape space, create atmosphere, and bring greater intention into the environments that you're designing.
And that's only possible because of the work that you're doing. You're creating the spaces that people are experiencing every day, places that need to perform, but also inspire, comfort, and connect. Our role is to support that with the materials that you can rely on and a team that's here to partner with you.
So as you start thinking about how these colors could show up in your designs, we are here to help you move those ideas forward. Your local Corian team is available to support you, And you can access full sheet visuals and additional resources by scanning the QR code on the screen. The official launch date is April 21st, 2026. That said, you can begin specifying and ordering these new colors now.
We also encourage you to start sharing your excitement. You're welcome to post on social media about the new colors and what you saw today and how you see these coming to life in your projects. Again, we appreciate your time, your partnership, and the work that you do every day. And we hope today we inspired you, and we look forward to seeing what you create.